What? A solo episode? I don't think you guys are ready for this. All right, welcome to the latest episode of Game Day Glare. I'm Lance. And where's E? Today, guys, it's a solo episode because E couldn't be here. There were some scheduling conflicts, so the show must go on. So you're stuck with me all alone today. First up on the agenda, I'm going to give you guys a little behind the scenes of what's been going on in my life lately, and it's playoffs. Playoffs. The Montreal Canadiens advanced to the second round and will be playing the Buffalo Sabres tonight. Now, the playoffs are always an exciting time, especially in Montreal. You know, the fans get really into it. But for me, on a personal level, the playoffs are always a time where you get to try and, recreate yourself. And sometimes you get the opportunity to try some new things. Now, I was very fortunate in being able to try some new things. I recently went for my advanced drone license here in Canada. So, you have to do a written test online. You have to actually go with someone from Transport Quebec and fly a drone and do maneuvers to get certified. So I got certified. And then I was given the opportunity to try to fly an FPV drone in the Bell Center. It's something that we are doing live during the games. Now, I am not the person flying it during the game and that, but I was allowed to test it to see how it would work, to see how the maneuvers would be. And it was really, really fun. A little nerve-wracking, a little bit out of my element. I do a lot of drone stuff for client work and that, but filming it in a live environment with 21,000 people in a building is something that I am not used to and I am not good at. So it was cool to try. It was cool to fail. It was cool to try and reinvent yourself and push yourself to limits and know what you can do and know what you want to improve on. So I'm really grateful to actually even try it and experience it, but I'm not the one flying it during the games. I am back in my regular position, just a little bit over. So usually I'm right behind the net. But the way it works in playoffs is there's different broadcasters and there's broadcast rights. And sometimes the camera positions get moved. So I'm actually doing a new position where I'm like doing reverse angle for more highlights and that. And it's really fun. And, after 41 regular season games, it's nice and refreshing to be able to try a new angle, try some stuff in that. So that's what today's topic is about. It's the mistakes that slow you down on game day. And unfortunately, I know E can't be here, so he has some great insight in that. But I broke it down into like 8 mistakes that could, slow you down on game day. But before I get into those 8 mistakes, I want to continue with a new section that we started called the Scouting Report. Scouting Report is where E and I talk about new equipment, new techniques, maybe even sometimes new software that we see in the industry. So today on my list, I want to talk about one of my favorite companies. I know I talk about this company all the time, DJI. DJI just came out with mini mic 2s, and they caught my eye. They caught my eye for one particular reason is the multitude of colors that they come with this. So the idea of the mic mini is, the little square. It's, not pro level audio because not 32-bit flow. You can't plug a lapel into it or anything like that. It's very dumbed down audio for beginner creators or mobile creators to capture the best audio as possible. But they came with this new little twist where they have a magnetic cover on it. And the magnetic cover changes the color of the mic. So depending if you're wearing a blue shirt, you have like the sleeve of like say 10 different colors, and you could put like a blue cover on it to try and match that blue shirt, or an orange cover to match your orange shirt or whatever. And it's kind of like a little fun twist on the mic mini set. Now the mic mini set too has a couple cool features, like it's fast charging. I read one article where a 5-minute charge can give you up to 1 hour of recording time. So there are some really cool improvements, but one of the coolest improvements is they added some of the Mic 3 features with the noise cancellation on it. So you just double tap it and it will cancel out the noise. So this is perfect for content creators who might be in a loud venue or are doing some POV stuff, some talking head stuff in a sporting event and that, where it'll really isolate your voice. So if you don't have a mic kit in your camera bag, this could be a good option for you, a good affordable option for you. So check out the Mic Mini 2 set, sorry. For me, I think it's pretty cool. I have the DJI Mic 3 set, so I don't really need it. I went for the pro level stuff. But for $100, I think this mic set checks off a lot of boxes for you creators out there. So I don't know. It's on my scouting report, so I would definitely take a look and see if maybe this is something that you can add to your camera bag. All right, now let's get into the topic of today's show: is things that could slow you down on game day. So mistake number one: the slowdown starts before you leave. Okay. Not getting enough information about the shoot. Ask the right questions beforehand. What's the deliverables? What kind of access do I have? What location am I shooting from? What am I walking into? And the reason why these things are important is because the biggest thing that you're going to prepare before your shoot is your camera bag. You need to know, what am I bringing to the shoot? Am I bringing a wide angle lens? Am I bringing a 70 to 200? Am I bringing a 35 to 150? Do I need a mic kit? Do I need a tripod? Do I need a monopod? Do I need my V-mount battery? Should I have my monitor? What is it that I need that's going to help me be successful? And then you have to know, what kind of content do they actually want you to capture? So knowing the job will help you pack your camera bag efficiently. Now, I am guilty of overpacking my camera bag. My camera bag probably weighs 35 pounds. I have way too much stuff in my camera bag. Partly it's because I'm too lazy to take some essential stuff out of it that I don't use. It's just in case. But ideally, per shoot, you should repack your camera bag according to what you need, because that will definitely speed up your game day. You have to know your deliverables and you have to know your locations, because you want to go into these shoots with a game plan. And if you don't have a game plan, you're setting yourself up for failure. So write yourself a nice shot list and know exactly what it is you want to capture before you even arrive. Have an idea. Okay, I want to get establishing shots. I want to get some crowd shots. In warm-up, I want to focus on this, or I want to mic up this guy, or I'm allowed to do this. Because depending on who you're working for, you will have different do's and don'ts. Find all those out ahead of time. So one of the big mistakes you could do is showing up the wrong setup. And that's just simply because you didn't ask on what you're shooting. Now, we joke around about this on the show all the time. E will actually show up with his camera. He buckles it into his front seat and he shows up with that rig ready. That saves a lot of time. It's something that I started doing a lot more recently. But not every shoot allows you to do that. Sometimes you got to take a metro there or a bus or whatever. So you don't want to be walking around with a $7,000 camera rig set up. So most venues do have a media room, or a place where you can put up your camera in that. But if you can show up with your camera ready, well, that saves you a good 5-10 minutes. So that could be a good thing. And, just do the little things like check your battery, reformat your cards. Think about audio. What kind of audio do they need? Do I need a shotgun mic? Do I need a lapel mic? And, when you get to that venue, do a quick little tour. Get familiar with the setting, with the surroundings. Get familiar with what settings you want to shoot too. Like, hey, am I going to be shooting all the sports action in 60 frames or 120 frames? Do I have any interviews or anything like that? Do you need those in 24 frames, 30 frames? Find out what it is that they need, because that will speed up your workflow and it will help you for success for game day. Mistake number 2 is bad lens choices, okay? Bringing the wrong lens to the job is a no-no. And it's a no-no for you because it puts you in a tight spot where, if you for some reason are up in the bleachers and you only have a wide angle lens and you only have one shot you could really give the action, well, that's not very helpful, right? So know what lens you need for the job. Ideally, I would bring 2 lenses, like a wide and a 35 to 150, depending on the sport. There's also another thing where you're staying too tight too long. So say if I have a 70-200 and I'm just in tight all the time and I have no real establishing shots because I don't have any other views, well, that, it doesn't give you much room to work with on that edit later. So that's why lens choices are very, very important. Now, in the real world, it's not easy to change lenses during an event. If you do, you do it, but you will be missing some action or time when you're changing lenses, Okay, the first quarter of this basketball game's over. I'm going to put on my wide angle now and get some establishing shots, some crowd shots, some stuff like that. Third, halftime, okay, I'm going to switch back to my 70-200 or 35-150. And now I'm going to get some up close shots of the players and the plays and all that. So kind of set up your lenses, at least my suggestion is set up your lenses to the clock. If you do have to change lenses, if you don't have multiple cameras, then go with the game clock and try and figure out a system that works for you. Find a time to swap your lenses without missing the action. And knowing the job in the venue will help you decide which lenses you need before the game even starts. Mistake number 3, standing in the wrong spot. So bad positioning kills good footage, like blocked angles or obstructed angles, late reactions, not capturing emotion of players or plays or fans, and that hurts your shoot. It's about missing the real moments. The idea of us sports videographers is making people feel like they're there when they weren't. So, being in the wrong position doesn't allow you to capture all that emotion. And sometimes the problem is not the camera. It's just where you choose to stand. So move around. If you're able to, move around and find different angles. The goal is to make it look like you had a full crew with you, even if you're one person. You can have great gear and still get weak footage if you're in the wrong place. So move around and try and get the best angles as possible, because a lot of shooters blame the footage when really they should blame the angle. Mistake number 4, playing it too safe. So staying locked in on the obvious shot, only following the action. I suggest not doing that. Follow players, follow plays, take some risks sometimes. Not grabbing reaction, not grabbing atmosphere shots, and not grabbing details like those nice little close-up of a ball, or just like little cutaways that you can use, those quick swish pans and stuff like that. Those add a lot of value to your video. Safe footage feels fine in the moment, but it's the risky stuff, the times where you did that little zoom out or that zoom in real fast, that rack focus. That stuff is the stuff you're going to be using in your edits. So playing it safe doesn't always pay out, okay? Because later in the edit, that footage could feel flat. Being too safe can slow down your creativity, okay? So sometimes the best shot is not the obvious one. Take a couple risks. Mistake number 5, overthinking settings mid-shoot. Game day is not the time to live in your menu, okay? Second guessing frame rates, second guessing white balances, second guessing your setup. No. Trust your process. You're a good videographer, you have a lot of experience. Make a decision and stick with it. If for some reason my white balance is off, but I kept the same white balance all game, well, then it's an easy fix. Yes, it might take 15 minutes to get that first clip right, but after that, I should be good. So don't worry about that. Stick with what you feel is best. Don't second guess yourself. Confidence comes from the camera setup, right? So obviously it helps if you've already worked at the venue and you have an idea what the white balance is, or what it's like walking around the color temperatures and that. But if you can't control that, stick to your processes and do the best you can. You can always fix it in post. If you're thinking too much about the settings in the moment, you're probably missing some shots. So stick to your settings and deal with it later. Mistake number 6 is something that I used to struggle with a lot. Overshooting, rolling too long because you're scared to miss a shot, getting too much of the same thing, the same angle, thinking more footage automatically means better coverage. It doesn't. It does not mean better coverage. Later in post, it becomes a mess. You have way more clips to go through, and it's not going to really, if it's always shot from the same angle, say in a basketball game and you get 10 points from the same angle, you're probably going to use 1 or 2 of them anyway. It just leads to more wasted time and harder to find the best moments. And overshooting feels safe during the moment, but it punishes you in the edit. So more footage does not always mean better footage. Mistake number 7, bad audio decisions. Assuming that audio does not matter on sports shoots, okay? Not being ready for quick interviews, missing some testimonials, not miking up someone when it could add value, not having your shotgun mic to capture actually real sounds of the game. Real sounds in your game really help your edit go a lot a lot farther and feel a lot stronger. So having that shotgun mic, especially if you're close to the court, is essential. Good audio can make the final pieces feel more live. Even just being ready for one strong soundbite can change the whole edit. A lot of people leave that value on the table because they only think visually. So sound is one of the biggest parts of your edit and of your shoot. So make sure you capture that sound. Mistake number 8. You're done to shoot, but you didn't realize the deliverables. So is this a recap? Is this a reel? Is this a testimonial piece? Is this vertical? Is this horizontal? If you don't know what you're actually delivering, you're just collecting random footage, okay? The clearer the end goal, the easier the day becomes. So knowing the final use helps you shoot with more purpose, okay? So a lot of game day mistakes happen because people are shooting without a clear purpose. So find out exactly what it is you need to shoot, what format, why you're shooting it, where it's going. All these things will help you, because there's nothing worse than doing a shoot and they're like, oh, well, we're going to use this in TikTok. Oh, we're going to use this here. Oh, we're going to use that there. Because that does happen a lot, especially in pro sports. What you film during a game is on every social media platform. So it's nice to know what is the main goal of this clip, or of these clips, or of this edit, because that will help you succeed. Listen, before we wrap up, thank you, by the way, for tolerating just me. I know Ia usually gives a lot of value, but he's not here today. So this is just my opinion and things that help me get through my game days. But game day speed starts before you hit record, okay? Asking the right questions matter. Packing the right bag is essential. Being ready at the venue. Positioning, where am I standing? What gives me the best angles? What angles am I going to go capture from? These things are important. Confidence. Things happen on shoots. There are issues in that. Trust your processes. Have a solution. Shit happens, guys. So do the best you can to manage those feelings and stay confident. Audio matters, so make sure you're capturing some audio while you're on these shoots. It's not just visual. You want to capture some real audio, and obviously use that real audio in your edits if you can. Output, find out where it's going. What are you guys showing it on? What am I filming this for? Find all that stuff out. And the less panic in your process, the better your footage will be. And the calmest shooters are usually the most prepared shooters. So if I know I am as prepared as I can be for my shoot, I have no stress. Yes, once I hit record, I'm focused. I'm paying attention to all my settings. I'm trying to get the best images as possible. But if I know I showed up ready and knowing everything that I'm supposed to expect of me that day, well, that's a lot less stress. And, I guess I'll leave you guys with this. Game day moves fast, but the biggest slowdown is usually the mistakes you made before the first shot, okay? So good luck on your next game day, guys, and that's it for this episode of Game Day Glare. Take care.